this channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do zonal statistics in ArcMap. So I have this layer called area of interest. So when you look at this is actually a polygon layer with this outline. This is the outline of my polygon layer. But again, this polygon has been divided into about 10 other polygons. So in this case, we're going to call this subdivision of this polygon area of interest as the zones. So in addition to this area of interest polygon layer, we also have this digital elevation model, a raster dataset showing the elevation across this area of interest, covering all the zones. Now, what does zonal statistics do? What zonal statistics do is the tool is going to summarize the raster values. Okay, the tool is going to show us the statistical summary of the raster values, and in this case, it is going to summarize the elevation values of this digital elevation model dataset, zone by zone, and in each zone we would have a statistical summary that we have specified, and one of those could be the mean or the average elevation in each of these zones, or the minimum elevations in all the zones, the maximum elevation, the standard deviation, and other statistical parameters. So that is basically what the zonal statistics do. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to rely on these two datasets, and we're going to perform two methods of zonal statistics. So we're going to, in the first part of this tutorial, we're going to do zonal statistics, where we're going to generate an output layer with only a single statistical parameters for all the zones, depending on what we have specified. So let's dive right into the first part of this tutorial so that you will be able to easily understand the concepts I'm trying to let you guys know here. So I'm going to head over to this search panel, and I'm going to type in zonal statistics, zonal statistics, and I'm going to search this. Alright guys, we have a list of two different tools. The first tool is Zonal Statistics under Spatial Analyst Tool Collection, and then the second is Zonal Statistics as Toolbox, not as Toolbox but as Table, also under Spatial Analyst Tool Collection. Now, actually all these two are within the scope of this tutorial, but we're going to start with this zonal statistics. So I'm going to click on this first zonal statistics. So this is the interface of this zonal statistics tool, whereby we need to specify a few inputs, and the very first is to input the raster or future zone data. So for the case of this tutorial, we're going to use this area of interest, this polygon or these subdivisions of our area of interest as the future zone data layer, and this A, B, C up to J, I think, would act as the different zones for which our statistical parameters would be summarized. So I'm going to select this area of interest as the feature zone data. So I'm going to go with that. And by the way, guys, if I open the attribute of this area of interest, I want us to inspect what is actually the attribute. What are the attributes of our area of interest? We have a field ID unique for every zone or unique for every polygon, and then we also have the area in square kilometers covered by each zone, and then we have this zone code, and this is the field that has been used to label our area of interest layer. So that means we can take this as our zone names. So I'm going to head back to the tool, and I'm going to use the zone field. I'm going to specify this very zone code as the zone field, but you can also choose this. But for us to be able to easily understand, let's choose this zone code because the field ID can be complex to read sometimes. I always prefer to go with either name of a zone, or in this case we can go with this zone code. And the next thing that we're going to do is to input the value raster. So working with digital elevation mode, the datasets of elevations across our area of interest. So that becomes our value raster. So we're going to specify this then as our value raster. So I'm going to specify the output location, and I'm going to type in Zonal Statistics. So I'm going to keep it as short as that. So I'm going to save this, and then so the statistics tab is where my interest is, guys. So pay attention right here. So from here you're going to choose how would you want to summarize your elevation values for each of the zones that we have in area of interest. So do you want to get the total elevation or the total elevation values in each zone, or do you want the standard deviation, or do you want the range, the minimum or maximum, or the mean? So the choice is entirely in your hand, guys, depending on what you want. You're going to choose from this list the statistics type that you want. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to go with this mean or the average, and then I'm going to click OK to run the tool. Alright, guys, so the tool has successfully run, and it has returned this output called Zonal Statistics. Now, guys, what does this mean? Right now we have a single band raster datasets that with the color run which goes from low elevation to high elevation. So to give some kind of interesting appearance to this output, let's first head over to the properties of this layer and we style it a little bit. So I'm going to go to this symbology, and I'm going to head over to this classified, and I'm going to increase the number of classes to about 10 classes. Yes, I'm going to give it a 10 classes. Maybe I'm going to change the color one. Yes, I'm going to change the color one from this. I'm going to put it, maybe I'm going to choose this color. Let me choose this color one, so that the hotter color corresponds to areas with higher statistical or higher average. So I'm going to apply this. I'm going to press continue. Alright guys, so with this we'll be able to appreciate where the average is high, is low actually, and where the average is higher. So we're going to realize that in this zone, this is zone C. The statistical parameter that we've specified, and that is the average or the mean, is actually lowest in this very zone C, and this zone F and zone I are the leading zones in terms of average elevations. And that is it guys with the first part of this tutorial. So like I said, in the second part of this tutorial, instead of generating a layer like this, which is a raster layer, we're going to generate a table, and in that table we're going to ensure that we have all the statistics type, as opposed to this other method where we only choose one statistics type at a time. So let's head over to the second part of this tutorial. We're going to head back to the search panel one more time and locate this Zonal Statistics as table. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to specify the input raster or the feature zone data. So just like we've done for the previous, just like we did for the previous, the previous Zonal Statistics 2, we're going to specify this as area of interest, and we're going to choose the zone code as the zone field, and we're going to choose the same raster, that is the digital elevation model, and then I'm going to specify an output location for this folder. So I'm going to put it in, let me put it in geoprocessing folder. I'm going to name it Zonal. I'm going to name it Zonal table. So I'm going to click save, and guys, I'm going to emphasize on this part. So in the previous part of the tutorial, for the previous two, we only had the opportunity to choose one statistic type at a time. But here guys, it's a choice. You can choose one statistics at a time, like mean, maximum, minimum, range, standard deviation, mean, standard deviation, or you can decide to choose this all option. So that is going to give you all the statistics type in the table that you're going to generate from this tool. So I'm going to choose all and run this tool, and I'm going to try to inspect the table, the output table that is going to be generated. So let me click on this to run the tool. Alright guys, we have our table generated right here by this Zonal Statistics as table 2. So I'm going to click on this table, right click and open the table. Alright guys, so I'm only interested in this column, this, and this, because we already had the area and we already had the zone code. So guys, from here you can clearly see that for each zone we have all the statistics type, starting from the mean, minimum, maximum, range, mean or the average, standard deviation, and sum. And that is what makes this tool more flexible and more diverse in terms of statistics type compared to the previous tool. So from here guys, you can export this table, you can save this table in any format that you want, and you can analyze this table using any software that supports data analysis. So this is it guys. For the very first tool, you'll be able to answer questions like, you'll be able to answer special questions like which zone has the highest average elevation value. So we did in the previous part of the tutorial, and realized that this zone F and zone I are the leading zones in terms of average or mean elevation values, and their elevation values range from 800 to 900, and the lowest zone in terms of elevation is this zone C here guys. So, and that is it with Zonal Statistics guys. If you enjoyed this video, try to show your appreciation by liking this video, subscribing to this channel, so that I keep dropping more useful and interesting content like this. See you again guys in the next video.